Hi everyone, it's Rona, and today we're doing a sped up image of a Destiny character. This is Amanda Holliday, who is known as the Shipwright. And you can see here I've just started with a basic sketch of the form that I'm working at. This is at 2 times the speed. And you can see here I'm just scribbling in a wrench, just doing the basics of a rib cage and blocking out areas. You can just see as I go, I'm just scribbling a lot of it in because this is just my sketch. And it doesn't matter that it's not perfect. Around here I start thinking, well, that chest is a little stiff. And I go and do my first save of the work. I'm not sure why this is so blurry though, because I recorded this on my Wacom tablet. I've recently gotten a Mobile Studio Pro 16, and it's what I use downstairs in the living room while sitting on the sofa. Here you can see I'm starting to throw in some facial details, and then I start looking around. Wait a minute, what exactly does she look like? Because I can only do so much from memory. So I do a search, and using Google search engine, come up with the images, and I start looking, well, what are the best images here to go with? Lots and lots of good images. I like this one because it shows more of her belt and arm. I just did a copy and pasted it in here in the corner on a layer. And sorry, Katie6, I had to erase you out. You were not what I wanted. I love you, Katie, but today is Amanda's day. And I kind of cut off her arm here because it was in the way of my drawing. I know it looks really goofy, but just a quick lasso around her arm, and I moved it out of the way. I mean, I wanted the details on it. I wanted to see what it looked like, but I didn't need it in the way. And then I'm looking at her face and her hair and how it's just this choppy layer cut hair, how long it is in the back. And I started thinking, what does it do on the other side? Because her bangs might be longer, but obviously they're not. She seemed to have this very choppy layer cut that almost is rounded in the back. I thought, no, it's not too long. It needs to be a little shorter here. And with this sketch, just basic sketch done, I'm starting to throw on her clothes. One of the things that you'll see that happens a lot on this device is it's a touch screen. And so with 2 fingers, you're able to swipe and move and come in and out of the image, except that sometimes it doesn't always register that I have 2 hands and 2 separate fingers. And so sometimes you'll see a streak happen on the left-hand side where my finger had gone down and it didn't register my right hand. So sometimes I have a streak from an ink brush or something that happens. I have to delete that out of there. Otherwise, there's going to be a whole bunch of wild streaks happening. There I chopped off her body. And I looked at it again real quick, trying to look for details on that belt, what was going on with her pants, how the belt buckle is shaped. She's actually wearing two belts. You can see there's on the right hand side one of those squiggles accidentally happens. And the fingers don't have to be absolutely perfect because she's wearing gloves that are not tight-fitting gloves. They're just a soft leather multi-purpose glove. I went ahead and deleted that that image, and now I'm erasing all the extra smudges and things that are on that layer. And there's an image of her again. Just peeking and keeping an eye out for what she looks like. And there's that belt. And you notice that her left arm has almost looks like sport tape on the forearm, a dark colored sport tape, and she's got a big smudge print in her elbow, in the crook of her elbow. It's of her own handprint. And then I really like this image to get more information from. And this is where I noticed that, oh my gosh, she's an amputee and she has a mechanical leg. And I think I really like her even more now that I know that Amanda Holliday's gimpy, because I am too. I wear a AFO ankle foot orthosis device, and so I was like, oh my gosh, we have matching legs. It's pretty cool. That's when I noticed the second part of that belt. She's got one sloping one way and one sloping the other. I'm really not sure what the purpose of the bottom one is, but it's there. And she's taken some cords and tightened the bottom of her pants closer around her amputated leg. Trying to get the mechanics here down, because it has a very interesting organic design. It's not symmetrical. You can see that it's very asymmetrical design with a joint on the outside, and then if you look at this middle image, there's also a joint on the inside top, which I'm not sure why you would have a joint at the top and a joint at the bottom, but I don't know, it looks pretty interesting. I wish my appliances looked like that. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, there's another one of those, a second accidental streak. And so now you can see I pretty much have the bottom, the sketch done, the rough sketch of what I want for Amanda Holliday's image. Saved it real fast. And here I lock the layer, and I've just grabbed some blue. And what I'm doing is I'm turning all of the black into a blue color. And then I'm going to lighten it, and then this will be my sketch layer, and then I will do the layer on top of it much more delicately and more detailed in. One of the things I noticed about Amanda Holliday's chin is that she has a very squared jaw chin. She doesn't have a round or oval face. She has, or a heart-shaped face. She's got a much more squared, triangular shape. So I needed to make sure that her eyes were shaped correctly. She has a upward slant on the outside, very almond shape, but not an oriental almond shape. Also didn't like the position of the nose. Once I got the nose roughly drawn, I wound up lassoing it and scooting it over because the location that it is now would mean that the bridge of her nose would be very shallow and her face more flat, so I needed to move it more outwards. And that just, the previous nose placement just didn't work with how her nose bridge is shaped. She has a very straight bridge. I keep looking at her again and again and again, trying to get that chin line just so, just perfect. Putting in some eyebrow. And then, taking that bottom layer and changing the opacity so that it's almost invisible, and that way I can see the top layer better. Make sure that my inking looks really good. Changing her ear a little bit. Hair, I'm just scribbling it sort of in. It's all triangle shapes. I just added a couple more triangles on top. And then I started with the goggles, which I really didn't like making my own circles, so I used the circle tool and just made 2 circles, and then I sort of drew around the inside edge of them to make the edging of the goggle. Getting the detail right on the goggles is not always easy, and why I colored this in, I'm really not sure, because I will probably take that out when I go to do my final coloring. Working on her scarf, which needs to show that her shoulder has scrunched it up, so I needed to scrunch it up more than what my original sketch had. Now I wind up drawing that shoulder a couple times because I didn't like how the shoulder looked. I imagine Amanda has some pretty good shoulder muscle going on, being a mechanic, lifting, carrying, and working on heavy items. So I wanted her shoulders to be pretty strong looking. And the cut of the shirt also amplifies that. The shirt is really going to amplify how someone's shoulders are built. And inking in the gloves, and this is a great thing because there's no perfect fingers in this. It's easy to just show the seams of where the leather was stitched together, and I don't have to make a perfect finger or thumb. No fingernails, that's always a blessing. Fingernails are pretty hard for me to draw. First I thought she had a watch on top of the gloves. Then I had to look later and notice it was just a strap with a button or a rivet. And that little watch looking item will get pulled out of there later. There's the arm with the athletic tape. Another one of those marks from where I'm trying to change the page. And a quick save. Always be saving your items. And then I realize I'm working on the wrong layer.
Maybe.
I'm recording audio. Say hi to everyone.
Oh.
This moment, I thought it was best to go ahead and draw the belts so that I knew that they looked properly layered on each other without drawing the small details such as the accessory bags. Those will get drawn on a separate layer, and then the whatever's underneath will get erased, and then they'll get merged down into the same layer. Kept making little accidental marks in the bionic leg. Oops, made another accidental mark. And I shaded those in just a little bit. I think it was more just not thinking, just naturally wanting to do it. It'll probably get changed when I color stuff in. And the wrinkles of the clothing. You'll notice I go in and I'll go out. You know, zooming out, looking at the overall image, make a save. There's my sketch. And I got rid of it, so now I only have one layer. And here I thought this leg looked rather small, so I increased the size Because once you have that amputated leg and the appliance looks smaller than a natural leg. So I wanted to increase that size, give it a little bit more weight, and this is where I worked on the shoulder once again to make it a nice, strong shoulder. There were moments I made it a little bit too big, and then I had to erase it and redo it, and then sometimes if you don't, yeah, that's where I made it a little bit too low. A little bit too big and a little too low. And then I accidentally made too many lines and they're messy, so I have to clean them up again. That happens often. Drawing in little wrinkles on the shirt and circle on the belt. Look at her again. You'll notice the top of the shirt has black shoulders.